singing some of these songs for a long time. This one here is probably the longest of all. As I was walking the ripping up highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I'm just thinking of something. I shouldn't have thought of it in the middle of the song. You know, sometimes you just think of things. It just comes to you. And I'm not the only one. It's hard to concentrate these days. You know what I mean? You got fancy names for it, the attention deficit somewhere. That's just hard to think of stuff to me. But it's no wonder. You got so much stuff going on. You got fires, floods, earthquakes, disease, disasters, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes. You got mudslides. You got forests. You know, you got all kinds of. This is just regular stuff, I guess, that happens. But then you got the stuff people are doing to each other. That's nuts. People are nuts. I don't think it's just we're getting better news coverage or something. I think people are getting more crazy as time goes by. And that's everywhere in the world. Here in this country, it makes you wonder if anybody can do anything about it. If any one person can make some kind of a difference. Reminds me of that old story of Joseph with the coat. You got that, Melbourne? There was a guy named Joseph. He had a nice coat. That's the short version of it. But he also had these brothers, and the brothers didn't like their brother Joseph very much, not just because he had a nice coat, but they was pretty sure that their pop liked Joseph more than them. See, and they might have been right. I didn't read it that carefully, but one day the brothers got up like they did every day, go feed the flocks and stuff, you know, in the morning. And Joseph must have slept in that day because his pop come down there and said, "Hey, Joseph, what are you doing hanging around the house, dude? Why aren't you down the road helping your brothers and stuff?" I'm obviously, you know, paraphrasing. Joseph said, "Okay." He goes down the road to where his brothers are supposed to be, but they're not there. Now, the Bible says that there's a man. He doesn't even have a name, just an anonymous dude standing in a field saying, "They went that way." Joseph said, "Okay." He goes down the road, sure enough, runs into his brothers. Meanwhile, the brothers been plotting against him the whole time. Some say, "Let's do this to him." Some say, "No, let's do that to him." They can't make up their mind, but anyway, Joseph ends up sold into slavery in a caravan going down to Egypt. He gets down to Egypt, ends up in a jail, in a cell with a couple of big bruisers. Nothing changes. Not only that, one of these bad guys having some bad dreams, like it ain't bad enough in there. But Joseph is good with dreams. So Joseph straightened out the guy. And the guy said, "Joseph, if I ever get out of here, buddy, I'll do something for you, help you out." Sure enough, the guy gets out. Forgets about his buddy Joseph. Start rising up in the ranks, getting close to the Pharaoh or something. A few years goes by. One day the Pharaoh starts having some weird dreams. He calls for his pipe and his fiddler's three, whatever. They come on out there, they can't think of nothing. Now everybody in Egypt is nervous. The Pharaoh's got the strange look in his eyes, having some weird dreams. Nobody knows what's going on. All of a sudden this other guy said, "Wait a minute. I know somebody who's good with dreams." He remembers his buddy Joseph. He goes, he gets him out of the jail, brings him up to the Pharaoh, introduces him, "Joe, Pharaoh Joe." And the Pharaoh started talking about the dreams. And Joseph said, "Oh, that's easy. You're going to have 7 good years. Rain will be falling, wheat fields waving in the wind. It's going to be very nice. But it's going to be followed by 7 bad years where the rain's going to quit and the wheat field turns to dust and blows away. It's going to be bad." The Pharaoh said, "Whoa." And he looked around. He said, "Fiddlers, you out of here. You didn't do nothing. Joe, you're the man." And he puts Joseph in charge of everything, and Joseph starts building some granaries to put some stuff aside during the good time, in case the bad time should come, like what he's saying. And sure enough, it comes. It's bad. It's not just bad in Egypt, it's bad everywhere. So back at the farm, Pop and the boys are sitting around saying, "It's bad." Pop said, "Why don't some of you boys go down to Egypt, see what they're doing?" So he sent a few of the boys down there, and to make a long story short, they run into their brother Joseph. He's saying, "Hey, it's me, Joseph." They're going, "Uh-oh." He said, don't worry about that. Go home, get Pop, the women, the children, the flocks, and everybody. Bring them on down to Egypt. We'll be living half to half. Not the words he would have used. Sure enough, though, that's what they did. Living generation after generation, doing pretty good. Till one year, they got a bad crop of pharaohs. But that's a whole different story. That's Moses. I've been thinking about Moses. I've been doing this 40 years. I know how the man feels. I just hope it doesn't take another 40 years to get somewhere. Of course, that's what happened to them. But out of that come David and Goliath, you know. That was good. I liked that when I was a kid. And out of that family come Jesus later on. That was a couple of thousand years after that. I mean, there's a lot of history I've been through here in a very short amount of time. There might be a lot of people here tonight that have a lot to say about any one part of it. But I'm here to remind all of you tonight that all of this history, every single piece and part of it depends upon one unknown, anonymous dude standing in a field saying, it went that way. Without that, there's no Joseph. Without Joseph, there's no Israel. There's no Egypt. There's no Moses, Pharaoh, David, Goliath, Jesus. If you ever wondered what one person could do in this world, wonder no more. You don't have to know nothing. You could just be sitting around. Somebody say, which way to go? It went that way. And the whole freaking world could hinge on you. And you wouldn't even know about it. And I'm sure that man is standing around somewhere saying, I should have given my name. There's a verse about it. The sun comes shining, and I went strolling, the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. The fog was lifting, and a voice was chanting, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Well, like I said earlier, it's been fun to be here tonight. Although I would be remiss if I did not point out there's some weird people here tonight. And I'm not talking about up here. And some of them is disguised as normal. Not fooling me. I see right through that stuff. You get those peace and love types come out of the woodwork for this stuff. I know, I used to be one. I started thinking about it recently. I thought, what's so good about that peace and love stuff anyhow? I mean, imagine if the whole world was actually peaced out and loved up and everything. Everybody getting along just fine. Not only that, everybody's feeling pretty good. Nobody's sick in the whole world. And everybody got stuff to eat. Nobody going to bed hungry tonight. You know, in a world like that, you would have to go a hell of a long way out of your way to make a positive contribution. But in a world that sucks, like this one, you don't have to do very much at all. Never been a time in the history of the world you could do so little and have it mean so much to so many people. This might be the world we've been asking for all along. Just can't let it get you down. You gotta keep the spirit going, keep the old songs sung, you know. When I was a kid, my dad took me out in the backyard and taught me this song. And the last verse he sang went something like this, and I'll leave it with you. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking my freedom high.